Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. I hope you all are doing fine. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that's chapter 8, Vital Villages, Thriving Towns. This is grade 6 CBSE. So what are the topics that we are going to cover? We're going to start with iron tools in agriculture, then other steps to increase production. Related to irrigation we'll talk, and other steps also. Who lived in the villages, then the stories about cities, coins, cities with many functions, crafts and craftsperson, and a closer look at Arikamedu. What did archaeologists find there? So let's get started. We are going to start our discussion with a very interesting kid whose name is Prabhakar. So one day, Prabhakar manages to go out, play with his friends, and on the street he finds a blacksmith's shop. So who's a blacksmith? A blacksmith is a person whom you call as metalsmith, a person engaged with iron and steel. He produces different tools using iron and steel. So basically he creates different objects with iron and steel, maybe some kind of tools, cutters, kitchen material and so. So this Prabhakar, he was quite excited and surprised to see some men playing with that bright fire. There are two big huge rods placed right above the fire that was huge bright red. And they were beating it, heating it, trying to mold it into different shapes. It was too noisy for Prabhakar to believe, yet he found it quite interesting. Chalo, let's find out what was so interesting about it. Did the use of iron start way back, or when did it start? We're going to talk about it in these iron tools and agriculture. Now what happens is, in the last class, if you guys know, I talked a lot about iron. So the iron that we use nowadays, the symbol being Fe, it was not used regularly way back. The use of iron tools, equipments, it started around 3,000 years ago. Before that, we didn't make use of iron. The first metal to be used was copper. It was not iron. Then we moved on to bronze. That's an alloy of copper and tin. And then during the Vedic period, in order to clear the forest and to create weapons out of it, tools out of it, and one of the very important weapons that we use for agricultural use, it is an iron plowshare. Now what is this plowshare? Now you all know we use plow to till the grass. It has a sharp blade attached to it. If you see, like, this is its shaft, and very next to it there is a blade like this, right? So that blade is called plowshare, right? So it is that component that we use for cutting. It has a leading edge and that we put into the ground. So we generally put it into the ground to move the earth, the soil on the earth. So this is very, very useful for agriculture, to increase the agricultural production. It's put to agricultural use. So we get to know about iron during megaliths period. If you remember, I talked of megaliths being huge stones under which people were buried. So way back, archaeologists found some tools of iron buried with the people during this, when they were studying megaliths burial. So there in this burial, they found the weapons made up of iron that were put along with the people in this structure. And after that, around 2,500 years ago, people started to readily make use of iron for different uses. For tools, weapons, clearing of forest, and even iron plowshare. Because they had to increase the agricultural output to pay taxes to the kings. Right? So since we're talking a bit about agriculture, I think it will be a great idea to know what other steps did they take to increase their production. So apart from using iron plowshare, we also used another system, if you guys remember, that's called transplanting, which means to replant. So once you grow the seed at some location, it starts to come up with its sapling, some of its shoots, leaves. Then you remove it from its original location and plant it somewhere in the field. You just do not scatter the leaves or the seeds out there. Originally, what farmers used to do, they used to pick up a handful of some seeds and throw it around this field in any particular location. But when you put in this kind of an effort where you replant what you've already grown, and you have extensive irrigation system that you can see here, then definitely there is a possibility of increasing the production. So what kind of irrigation system existed back then? They made use of canals. Canals basically means there's a river flowing. You divert its water, store it at some place, and then later on guide the water to the field. So you use canal. They are artificial waterways through which you transport the water to the fields, right? After canals, we also see the use of wells. Nowadays, we also see the use of tanks and artificial lakes. So they all were used to increase the production by the farmers back then. So easy? Okay. So now we're talking a bit about the villages. So we need to know who lived in the villages. We've talked about iron. So the story unfolds itself. We started the use of iron for irrigation, for crop production. Then what else did we do to increase our production? And since people engaged in this activity mainly live in the villages, so who lived in these villages? So this is a very, very interesting question that we need to learn today. Because we've got different names of the people who lived in the north and the south, yet they were doing the same kind of activity. So I'll make it easy for you. I'll write everything down for you guys so that there's no confusion. So let me write here north. And this section is going to be for the people of south. So if I talk of people of south, let's first talk of Tamil's case. They were different kind of people who were living, yet we named them differently, yet more or less they were engaged in the same activity. For example, let's say this is a village. I'll show you. And we've got many houses here. So one of the richest person, who's called the large landowner, who's got a lot of land under his control, he was named, this rich person, landowner, he was called as Whaler. Some call it Velalar and some call it Whaler. So you can call, as per your book, to learn the spellings, you call it Velalar. Right? Then there were some ordinary people, like who used to be acting as the plowmen, who used to plow the fields. They were known as Uzavar. And there were some landless people who didn't have land with them. They were slaves. They were known as Kadaisiyar or Adimai. Easy? This is all about south. Now let's move to north. Now in the northern part, the headman of the village, who's quite rich, who has got a lot of fields under his control and he makes use of a lot of slaves to work on it, and has a hereditary system where the son of this headman would take the charge, then after that his son would take the charge, and after that his son would be the headman. He is known as Grama Bhojaka. He was basically known as Grama Bhojaka, the largest landowner. And he had a lot of slaves to work on his land. So he basically used to work as a judge. He used to work as a policeman to resolve the doubts or the crisis that people are facing, because everybody used to listen to him. He being rich and powerful, he was having a prestige and position in the society. After that, there were some independent farmers. Not so rich, but independent enough to survive. Those independent farmers, they were known as Grihapatis. Most of them could be small, some could be large enough, some could have small size land holding. And there were men and women who did not have land. They worked on others' fields, let's say landless laborers. So those landless laborers, may it be men or women, they were called as Dasa Karmakara. Right? So I've got a list for you. The name of the headmen whom we used to address, then independent farmers, then landless laborers. Then in south, if I talk of the landowner is called Vilalar, then the plowmen, Uzavar, then of course the landless laborers, generally the slaves, Kadaisiar and Adimai. And in case you guys know, in that village, if we have a village, so apart from all these people, there are people employed in different crafts. There might be a blacksmith, because different professions, people from different professions were working. There could be a blacksmith, there could be a person who's potter, who's making different kind of pots, like you can see. I'll tell you the story later. There's an interesting fact related to it. There could be carpenter, making furniture. There could be different kind of weavers. So that means, that gives us an idea that the craftsmen who lived in the northern or the southern villages, they were named differently. They might be performing the same job, but we had quite a lot of talented people living in the villages back then. So you can have a closer look of the slave who's working for his master. I just told you, in the south, these people were known as Adimai, or they were known as Kadaisiar. And if I talk of north, just helping you revise, the same set of people who were landless, they were known as Dasa Karmakara. Right? So that's all for today's session. In case you guys like the session, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.